Hello, and welcome back to the Fastest Podcast, where we cover everything from the greatest overtakes to the fastest pit stops. I'm your host, Jazz, and I have with me today Pigeon, and Dan is back joining us from his voyage. So, this weekend we have coming up the Brazil Grand Prix. Everyone loves the Brazil Grand Prix. So, we're hoping for a good one. Also, a sprint weekend, too. So, there'll be plenty of action, we are hoping, on track as long as the weather holds up. Shall we start with the
Yeah.
weather? Yeah. Because it's mixed. It's mixed. We're used to getting a bit of rain at Interlagos. It would not come as a surprise to anyone. However, the forecast is changing quite rapidly. At first, we were looking at absolute pour down for 3 solid days. Now we're looking at a wet quali, a potentially wet sprint race, and maybe a bit of rain to dampen things on Sunday. So, given the history of the Brazil Grand Prix, what do we think this is this could lead to?
I mean, can never count out rain at Interlagos. It literally means between the lakes. But we've seen both good dry races as wet weather races. It always delivers. It's a great track. You can always try different lines, try some overtaking. It has a really long straight on the main straight, so to the DRS zones. I think there's a bit of everything in there. And it always delivers on the calendar. Last year, of course, we had the amazing weather race. 2022, we had, I think, 3 people fighting for victory throughout the weekend. So yeah, it's a great one. It's a shame that it's not the opener or the closer anymore. But it's always good to go to Interlagos.
Yeah, yeah. Dan?
It's one of my favorite races of the year. You'd never know what you're going to get. It's very rarely a dull race. There's something normally always happening. From when Verstappen was going to win to when he had the collision with the back marker Ocon, and also the 2016 race, which was one of the classics at Interlagos. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, whether it's wet or dry. You've had the title deciders in the dry 2012, I think it was, with Vettel coming back from last all the way through to where he needed to finish 5th or 6th. So it is a race you can overtake. This for me, is a crucial one to win for the title championship. You've got Verstappen has to win it. So that could be a little bit on his mind, that he has to go out and win the sprint. He has to win the race, and he has to hope that one of the McLarens doesn't really finish on the podium. But Piastri needs to win it to get back some sort of momentum, because he's been lacking a bit of momentum at the moment. And Norris, brilliant chance for him to extend his lead. So there's loads to play for at Interlagos, and the track always delivers.
Speaking of Norris, because we have to talk about the title fight a little bit. It would be rude not to. With Norris, right, we are seeing probably the most relaxed, most on form that we've seen him all season long. He's just regained the championship lead for the first time since Saudi. Granted, it is only 1 point, but it's probably
Lead is
better
a lead.
than
You could win it
a
with
lead is
1
a
point.
lead. A lead is a lead. It's maybe a bit too close for comfort, just slightly at this point in time. But, we're seeing him a lot more relaxed, a lot more in tune with the car. Surely, um, surely we'll be seeing him, really going for it to kind of erase or get a little bit of redemption from last year's Brazil Grand Prix.
Yeah, I think Brazil is really a driver's track. If you're comfortable on the track with the lines, you're easily going to be high up in the order. If it is raining and you are uncomfortable with the car, it's really difficult to produce some magic in there, as we saw last year with Norris. A couple of mistakes, which ended up costing him dearly. I mean, not really for the championship, but still, I think it P6 from pole, not the best result. Um, yeah,
You could say
a
that,
little bit
yeah.
of bad luck as well with the safety car and the red flag, but yeah, a couple of mistakes. And you saw Verstappen, who was comfortable in the car in the rain, just smacked the field. Uh, yeah, Interlagos, it's always fun to see because you can overtake, because you can have different lines like we saw in Coda. And with the potential of rain, it's really interesting to see. I think this, like Dan said, this one is going to be crucial for the title fight. If Verstappen wins and one of the McLarens makes a mistake, he's really back in it. If he doesn't win, I think it's over for Verstappen because with only three rounds left and 30 something points, then yeah, that's not going to happen. Um, but
I could
we could go out of Brazil with one of the closest title fights in I think the last decade.
I mean, that's kind of what I was going to say. We could really see him close it down enough not to win the whole championship come Abu Dhabi, but enough to really have his foot on the papaya,
Yeah,
maybe. Man to watch, I would say, this weekend is definitely Oscar Piastri because, like you say, not comfortable in the car plus rain, you're not going to be having the best time at this track. What do we think he can maybe pull off given recent form? Because, we've spoken about his form a lot lately, not because we think that P5 is a terrible result, but because we think P5 is a terrible result in the fastest car on the track. The same way when Norris was underperforming, not great excuses can be made for that when you're in the closest thing you can get to a rocket ship. So what do we think? Things could be stacked against him a little bit this weekend.
Yeah, I think I expect Piastri to struggle, if I'm being quite honest. You only need to look at last year. Last year, he wasn't on Norris's pace, really. In the final sort of 5-6 races of last year, he did tail off. And he seems to be doing the same thing again. I don't know if it's he doesn't like these specific tracks. But yeah, he needs to pull it back. He has to pull it back this weekend to regain some sort of momentum for the final three. But I don't know. I think Norris is in a good headspace. The beginning of the season, we all questioned, his mentality, but now he really is there. He's focused. And I think it's ever since Zandvoort when his car broke down and he said, I've got nothing to lose. And he was driving like he had no pressure after then, really. It'll be interesting to see how actually he now deals with the pressure of leading the championship as well. But I think Piastri has to, for his sake, he has to beat Norris. I just don't think he will.
I have seen some of his fans, Piastri's fans, saying, these circuits are not his strongest. So I don't know if that does play a factor. Like, obviously, I think people want that to be the reason why he's not maybe performing at the best. We've seen accusations of sabotage. Does it really just come down to the fact that actually Lando's in the better headspace? Oscar's still maybe in Baku a little bit mentally, because I don't know that McLaren have untwisted some of the nuts and bolts.
It's just excuses.
It's just excuses.
I've seen things where they've said, "Oh, he's now got a cracked chassis," and
which, funnily enough, Norris fans were saying at the beginning of the season about Lando's car. Maybe they swapped. Maybe they swapped.
Maybe I don't know. It does seem to stem from that whole Monza incident, to be quite honest, where if they hadn't swapped the cars, Piastri would be 2 points clear at the top.
All 2 points.
Right, 2 points is 2
Like you
points.
said earlier, 2 points.
2 points is 2 points. If you win the championship by a point, you're not going to care, are you?
Yeah.
I'd be quite
Piastri
all right with it.
But we still have
Exactly.
4
If
races
Piastri
left.
loses
So
this championship by 1 point,
yeah.
how angry is he going to be at McLaren? So I wouldn't want to be in that after the season meeting.
McLaren
But
are going to have to fortify that place. If they see Mark Webber coming, it's over. It's over.
But going back to Piastri, it's excuse. He's not on form, and like last season, his form did dip off. Is it the tracks? I don't know, but he's just not quite on it. Is it the pressure? It could be the pressure.
I don't think you can say for Piastri that it's the tracks. It's his 3rd year in F1. And 2023, let's be honest, wasn't the best season for McLaren anyways. He did get his first pole and sprint win in Qatar, so I think it's just a little bit of confidence, like we said, like his form. He did have a pretty good recovery in Mexico from P8 to P5. I mean, it's points. Points are points. So, yeah. But you could say what you want about it, but it's points. He didn't lose any more than he would have if he made more mistakes in that race. I think he could do well depending on the conditions, because you only have one practice to set up the car. You only have sprint quali, which might be rain, which might be dry, which might be changing conditions. So with that in mind, anything can happen this weekend, especially if you are having a qualification session in, for example, Q2, where you have 2 minutes to set a lap and then it starts raining again. Anyone can go out in that session. So this weekend will probably be one where you have to be on the money at all times, and then you have to still do the race and make no mistakes in that as well. So it's going to be a mix of a little bit of luck, skill, and whether your car is set up right. So I think it's going to be a really interesting weekend nonetheless. And if you could consider the title fight that we have right now, it's going to be probably one of the best rounds of the season.
I hope so. I mean, looking at it from now, coming out of Mexico as well, you could say it looks like Lando's got the best hand
Momentum.
going in. You know, he's more comfortable with the car at the moment, considering they're going to have less prep time because of the sprint weekend. He's got the momentum. You know, Piastri is on the back foot, unfortunately. I think it's just kind of a shame the way it's kind of gone for him, because he was so dominant to the point where no one could believe that this would maybe happen. Like, and now we are seriously talking about the fact that he's not going to win this. I think, I don't know, I've seen a lot of, we've all seen a lot of speculation about the whole, you know, the Iceman 2.0 situation, and has it maybe backfired on him a little bit, because now we're all kind of scratching our heads as to what's gone so wrong. But I don't know. I don't want to write him off. I think he's gonna still make Lando's life very, very difficult, and Max's. So
I think I said it in the review as well. If any of these 3 drivers makes a mistake, they're out of contention. We still have 4 races to go. 4 rounds, 6 races. If you make a mistake, a big mistake in any of them, that's going to be 0 points. And if you do that, you're out of contention. So, yeah, I think all of them just need to be on their best. They need to try and beat at least one of your rivals every weekend. If you can't win, then at least try and beat, you know, Lando, Oscar, whatever. But I also think that the Mercedes and the Ferraris can play a big role in these final 4 rounds, because we've seen them be either splitting the 3 or be in front of the 3 or somewhere in between. If they can like take a couple of podiums, that's going to be crucial when the final tallies come in.
Yeah, I mean, completely on merit, the Ferraris and the Mercedes both held Oscar back from that top three in Mexico. And then obviously the race happened and certain things changed and he went forward, but you know, he went forward because a few of them went backwards through no fault of their own.
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't
Lewis
get past
Hamilton, for
Behrman,
example.
so
He couldn't get past Berman. And I mean, that was
I don't know how much of that to attribute to Behrman's great defensive driving and how much to attribute to Oscar's maybe slow momentum at the moment.
I mean, all credit to Ollie because I mean he overtook Max Verstappen. It's not like he was just cruising and Oscar was asleep behind the wheel. It was just more of a you can't get past the Haas. Your teammate wins by 32 seconds. It's a really difficult thing to look at and understand. It's like looking at Max and a teammate of his. Pick any one of them if you like. And that is really not the place that Oscar's going to be in because he's wiped the floor with Lando for the better part of this season, and now it just so happens that maybe those extra years of experience paying off when Oscar really doesn't need them to for Lando. So he is kind of like I can't imagine that feeling just watching it kind of. I'd be crying myself to sleep, respectfully. I don't know how they do it. I want to be so for real. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, I mean, Oscar needs to bounce back, doesn't he? He needs to find something in Brazil because I think if he doesn't,
he's going to finish
I don't
P3.
see him. If he doesn't do something now, I don't see him doing something in Qatar or Vegas or whatever. He needs to bounce back now and give him, the races to have the proper shot to go on and win it. It's hard. It's all a mentality thing, and like people saying, he's the Iceman, but he really needs to focus now. Shut out all the outside noise. Do no PR this weekend. Nothing. Don't go on a skipping round the mountains with Norris video for McLaren. He needs to get his head in the game. He needs to be focused, and otherwise the title will just slip away from him.
I wouldn't count out the skipping around the mountains video. I guarantee
maybe they'll just jump into a pond.
Yeah. Just McLaren, but it's Lando and Oscar trying to drown each other in the lake. But that's
I need to see that.
But I mean, no, it's a tough watch, but it's an exciting watch because this is kind of what we wanted. We wanted it to be super close, and now that we're here, we're all like, "Oh my god, it's over for Oscar Piastri." It's not over. It's not over for any of them.
It's not over for Piastri, but he needs to show something in Brazil because if he finishes fifth again, I don't see how he goes on and wins the championship. He needs to beat Norris. Whether he loses to Verstappen and beats Norris, I think he'll take that because it will give him the lead back and it will put down a marker to Norris saying, "Look, you beat me fair and square in the last race. This time I was better than you. Bring it on."
Yeah.
This is the thing. Is that what we as fans would want now? Them just every weekend someone different's doing it so that I don't think my heart could take it personally. I'm gonna be so for real.
I mean, as long as McLaren stay off the radio, it should be fine. Well, the thing is, because the start of the season we had them going for each other at the front of the field. Now they've kind of crawled back a little bit. They have lost that advantage, that edge. So now when they are fighting, it could be for P3. It could also be for P1, but there's a good chance that there's going to be other teams in that mix as well at every single track. Because we've seen Russell win races, take poles. We've seen Ferrari on pole this season. They have taken podiums away from other McLaren drivers. So I think if Norris has a little bit of an off weekend and Piastri can just find a little bit, they will meet again on track. It's just which position is going to be for.
I've just had the thought, actually. I'm probably really late to this party, but if you consider the fact there's 1 point in it, and they're in a position where they could race, but McLaren McLaren are over. Like, they actually can't get away with it, I think, now, because that will be, if Lando's ahead and let Oscar through, or vice versa, they are gonna get absolutely decimated. So, is Papaya Rules dead?
I mean, it has to be in a way. Like, Papaya Rules is just don't hit each other.
Title right there.
Look, what happens if Piastri has a slow stop and Norris takes the lead of the race?
Yeah, exactly. What do we do?
I don't think
they have to swap them because they've already done it. But I just this is the problem when you try and be fair to your drivers, is it will always come back to bite you. They should have just given Piastri the position, because now if Piastri has a slow stop and Norris takes a position, he has to give it back. He has to. From their own rules and precedent on how they go racing, they have to give it back. If they don't, Piastri will be on the phone to another team saying, look, give me a seat.
Mark Webber's already got him brushing up on his Italian, so
I wouldn't go there.
I mean, I think at this point it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If they have any of those situations, I think the internet's just going to blow up. That's just what's going to happen.
I will be unreachable that day. Genuinely, like, what do we do in this situation?
We celebrate Max Verstappen's 5th. That's what we do.
Exactly. Who's laughing? Verstappen's laughing, isn't he? He is.
They can't afford to make McLaren laugh, Verstappen laugh. So literally, what do they do in this situation? Because I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and the way McLaren have chosen to go racing, and
you can't call it racing at this point.
No, but exactly. They chose that. They chose whatever this is. I've been really trying to get my head around if I'm Zach Brown or Andrea Stella, which clearly I am not, because I'm too qualified, quite frankly. What am I doing in that situation? Because it's not like you've got a Max Verstappen. You've got two pretty solid guys. You know, you haven't got a Lewis Hamilton or a Max Verstappen or a Sebastian Vettel. You've got two pretty solid, all-round decent drivers who are both gunning for their first championship. You've got one who's been offered the world by other teams, and he's stuck by you while you were giving him P17. You've got this new upcoming, potentially generational talent, and they're both kind of performing at the same level. I can't sit here and say, I mean, I have sat here and said it, that, they've butchered this. But seriously, what do you do in that scenario?
It's a good question, and that's why I'm not paid millions to make a decision.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Look, they should never have done what they've done in Monza. They've done it.
Or at least not announce it to the world. I think that was their big mistake.
Yeah, it feels like this failed marketing, transparent papaya family thing that they've been doing. And it's just, Red Bull don't lay it all out for us like that.
No.
You know? They've tried to not be the big, scary, ruthless F1 team. You know, even when we win, you can still love us because we love everyone.
I found some web results. I can show them if you ask again from your iPhone.
No, thank you. Sorry. That was terrifying. Yeah, papaya niceties don't necessarily work. this is the thing. People hate Red Bull, but people still also look at Red Bull and go, yeah, I got to take my hat off to that, even though I can't stand them. Or I love them because they're so, hardcore about it. Is that where it's gone wrong for them?
Yes. You can't have niceties in the top of any sport. You can have respect, but you can't have niceties because you kind of lose that competitive edge, I feel. You take other sports, for example, football. Back in the day when it was Arsenal v Man United in the 90s and early 2000s, they hated each other. They were going at it, they were hacking each other down, it's what people want to see. And now we've got the sort of like Lando and Oscar. I know it's all PR and they probably don't feel this way behind closed doors, but how it's presented, it's, oh, we're all one big happy family. Well, no, you're not, because you're fighting for a championship.
Yeah, I
mean,
can you imagine?
We've
Can
been
you
on
imagine
this
having to
topic
do all that
before.
every day? It's just we have talked about it before, and we will continue to talk about it, I'm sure, until this ghastly season ends. And it's just when you really think about the details, because it's not just car, track, race, one wins, one slightly doesn't win.
I mean, it is that easy.
But it's that easy to us. But the intricacies that go into how we got from Bahrain, Australia, even this year, to now going into the last 4 races, neck and neck, essentially. It's a lot to consider there.
I just remember a Raikkonen quote when they asked him in 2021. And they were like, yeah, what do you think? Like, yeah, we did the entire season and we're still no closer than when we started the season. So what's the point of having the season? But yeah, I think after the season, no matter what's going to be the outcome, I think we need to do a video on McLaren, how to ruin a world championship fight. Because they have probably written a great book about it by now with their experience. Yeah, I mean, like Dan said, it's not so much as nicety. It's about respect. You can hate someone on track by the way they race, by the way they talk about you in the media, but you can still respect their craft, their skills. You don't have to like him, but the respect will be there.
I mean, the last few championship battles, or actual battles that we've seen, it's like Max and Lewis, for example. That was like, oh, can't even look directly at them together on the screen because it burns my eyes because of the tension. But now they're quite friendly. It's all quite nice. This is the thing, like, we as fans don't expect the championship rivals to be playing hide and seek on Instagram. Like, can you imagine that in 2021?
No, I can't.
This is the thing. And just because they're teammates doesn't take that intensity away. Can you imagine Max Verstappen hiding in a bin, waiting for Lewis Hamilton to come find him?
I also think that Lewis and Max are two widely different people in that regard.
Yeah, but
I think the main problem for McLaren is their rivals aren't going to take him too seriously. So if he's going up against someone ruthless, like Toto Wolff as your team principal, or Red Bull as a general organisation, they're going to wipe the floor with them if they've got an equal car. Let's just put that out on the table. These are ruthless people that want to win, and how McLaren have shown themselves this season is they have won, but they don't look like they want to win. They're more concerned about their image rather than winning. Do you think Red Bull actually care that not many people like them? Do they really care as long as they win?
They just care about the sales, don't they?
Sales, yeah, but you're always going to sell. You're always going to sell
No,
when you're
like,
a top team.
you're in the media, you're winning. That's going to lead to what you eventually want. Is going to be making money, being present in the media, and having a brand.
They really don't care if their drivers love each other. They want someone to win, Verstappen, and they will do anything to make him win.
Yeah, they have definitely shown their hand, and next time they are going up against a different unknown beast. We can't solve that with.
I mean, we are expecting them to be on top again next season. Could be completely different. We have seen it before when one team is very dominant the one era, and then just completely falls to the bottom the next.
Mercedes.
And we of course we expect them to be good. We expect them to be kind of having the same title fight next year, or I wouldn't say title fight, but kind of the same order next year. We could see it completely different. We could see Max Verstappen fighting for P15s. We could see Albon fighting for wins. We don't know.
Could see Lance Stroll fighting for wins.
No,
Let's not get ahead of
too
ourselves.
But
No, but you are right though.
Yeah.
It could be anything, and I think that's also what mounts this pressure as well. We're not doing the same thing next year with the cars. So Lando and Oscar,
Hopefully
every
not
man for
anyways.
yourselves. Yeah, no, hopefully, of course, but this could be it. You could never get within sniffing distance of a podium again. Like, it could happen. Probably won't.
Yeah, or you could pull
Probably
signs in Baku.
Yeah. You could actually never see another trophy in your life based on anything that could go next year. That's the thing. This is everything to them. This is like life.
Yeah.
I was going to say life and death, but maybe not quite. But the close enough.
I mean, death of a career for sure.
Sure. You 5 years old and you've basically signed your life away to become an F1 driver. And now it's that dream is right there. And you have to go and play hide and seek and musical chairs with the guy that also wants it. As bad as you.
Yeah. I mean, I think the
God,
fact that
our
they...
lives are so simple in comparison.
I think the fact that they wrapped up the constructors with 6 races to go, and then still have to... I mean, you still have to beat Max Verstappen for the title at this point. That's just crazy. You know, you win the constructors with 6 races to go. You're 300 points ahead of the rest, and then you still have to keep an eye on Max Verstappen and Red Bull, who are P4 in the standings. I think that just sums up the entire McLaren story this season. The fact that they have that car and just haven't extracted the most out of it. Because I think before the summer break we said they could reach like 1,000 points for the first team in history. I think that's now only 800 points that they could reach. So, yeah.
It's crazy because the thing is, I don't look at either driver and go, "You've not done enough."
I mean, we've seen a couple of unnecessary DNFs and...
Sure, and obviously Baku was a wasted day for both of them, but every season, every dominant season has something like that in it. I don't, begrudge either of them for that. I don't really look at either of them and go, "You haven't done your best." They both been trading wins. It's just interesting how they've kind of plateaued out at the end of the end of the season, and now Max is there, and George Russell is also kind of involved, and it's really strange actually to look at the season and go, actually, maybe they didn't do enough, because I've never really felt like that.
No, but with the car they've had, then it should be a 2-horse race. But at this stage, their car has dipped a little, obviously, because Red Bull have brought upgrades, Mercedes have brought upgrades. I think even Ferrari have brought upgrades. I don't think McLaren have really.
Yeah, but they're still driving
continued.
a tractor, so that really doesn't matter now, does it?
Yeah, I mean, in theory, Ferrari should have, probably could have had a double podium in Mexico. You know,
I'm still not over it.
We won't go into that. But you know, they had a decent race there. Leclerc, got P2. So again, he could pull something out of the bag, because if one of the Ferrari drivers is going to do it, it's going to be him. He could pull like a pole position. We've had a few weird pole positions in Brazil, especially in wet qualifying. Let's not forget my man Nico Hulkenberg in his debut season, P1 in the wet conditions.
Was that also at Brazil?
It was at Brazil in his Williams. And also, I think we had K-Mag on pole recently.
2022, yeah.
Yeah. So there could be a surprise in there. You just don't know, especially if it is a wet qualifying. Anything can happen at Brazil. Like you said, it's not always about the car at Interlagos. It's a lot about the driver.
Franco Colapinto on pole position still does not finish in the points.
Let's do it.
If you want to lock that in. But talking about predictions, let's go into predictions.
Let's. Speaking of predictions, actually, there is someone here who owes us a shoey.
Who?
Let's save that for Sunday, shall we?
Save it for Sunday. You might owe us two by then. Who knows?
Yeah, my man Hulky's going to do it again.
Yep.
He'll grab that P10. I have good faith in him.
Yeah.
Thought you were talking about the pole position then. That was disappointing.
Okay, I'm delusional that he'll get 10th. Let's be quite honest.
Well, like I said, with rain-affected qualifying sessions, anything can happen.
Exactly.
So
I'm going for a Yuki Tsunoda pole position.
Not again.
Wow.
Always.
Yeah. So like always, we asked you guys to give us some predictions to talk about in this preview. I think it really has been a preview for about 10 minutes now, but let's get back to it. And you guys delivered again.
Really deep on McLaren there. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, they've been really well and terrible at the same time. So we asked you guys for the brightest, bravest, and boldest predictions for Brazil Grand Prix. Well, some people just didn't want to bother giving any predictions. They just said it's going to be unpredictable. I mean, with the weather, that's probably going to be true as well.
That's a prediction, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Technically, that works.
Yeah. Someone also said it's not going to be a return of Brazil 2024. It's going to be a really boring race.
Mm.
I mean,
I'll disagree with that. I think Brazil's normally a cracker.
Yeah. Someone said Hamilton's going to win.
Of course,
see it happen.
He is got Brazilian citizenship, so it'd be like a home win.
We do, however, have a chance that he's going to take an engine penalty, so
they'll do it with one of them. They won't do both.
Yeah. I mean, Hamilton already has like his final internal combustion engine, so if he is going to take a penalty, he'll probably take it at Brazil.
Brazil or Vegas.
Yeah, but you'll want the most out of it, so he'll take it sooner rather than later. Someone said none of Max, Lando, or Oscar is going to win the race, which is interesting.
I agree with that.
You're going for a Hulk win, or
No. I'm gonna say George Russell is going to win this race. I have faith that
he's won here before.
He has,
and his maiden win.
Yes. He's got form around this track. Again, he was in sort of Lando's position last year with, unlucky. Was it unlucky? Was it bad? Cool. I don't know. But, with the red flag and the safety cars. But, he was right up there last year in the rain. And if it is going to be a wet race, my money's on Russell to win it.
Yeah, I'd have to disagree. I'd say if it's going to be a wet race, I'm putting my money definitely on Verstappen.
After Australia, I'm just not putting it on Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had any wet race after Silverstone, so...
Spa.
No, I'm not counting that as a wet race. They started basically on dries. But someone did say Russell's going to win this one, so, you may be onto something there. Someone said Oscar Piastri is going to win, Russell second, Norris third. I don't know what's going to happen in their imagination, but could be an interesting one if that happens. Someone said McLaren's going to dominate no matter what the conditions. I don't see that happening. But
I don't think so.
Yeah. And then I think someone has sniffed some of the Dan glue because he said Haas or Sauber podium or a Williams win.
Yes. Keep it with the glue, guys. Let's do it.
If that happens, if either of those happens, I'm gonna do a shoey. No.
Look,
I'm not touching that.
It's unpredictable. It's unpredictable.
Yeah.
The top teams will come out on top like they always do. You know, when K-Mag, when Hulk, when they were on pole, you know, they finished down the order by the end of the race. But yeah, anything could happen in qual. And it is a bit difficult to overtake with these cars. I mean, you would expect them to fly by, you know, on the main straights. But, you know, if it's a Williams, for example, they're speedy in a straight line.
I mean, I thought I saw James Fowles said that they haven't been strong at Brazil for a couple of years now, so they don't expect to be strong anyways.
Well, he's going to say that. He's going to play down their chances.
Yeah,
of
course.
Well, you don't know in the weather conditions. So.
But in the end, it doesn't really matter anyways. You can say what you want, but the pace is going to be what it is.
Exactly.
So, yeah. I must say, I have been offset by one race in my predictions because in Kota I said double Haas points, and then they didn't in Kota, but they did in Mexico. Last time out, I said Max is going to win with a double Ferrari podium. That didn't happen, of course, but I'm going to say it now. I think Verstappen is going to win with 2 Ferraris on the podium.
Even if they take an engine penalty?
Even if they take an engine penalty, yes. I don't think with all the potential chaos, it's going to matter much. Because, like I said, this is a driver's track. If they are somewhat comfortable in their cars, they will go to the front. So
that is ambitious.
I know.
I think it will be a Russell win. I think Verstappen will be a very close second, but you know the Mercedes might have the edge on the day. And then third, I'm going for a McLaren, and I've got to say, for the championship, I hope it's Piastri. I just want to say, I don't have I do not have a horse in this race, so I don't really care who wins the championship. I'm just putting it out there. But for the competitive nature and, you know, to put Piastri maybe 2 points ahead, so there's not much in it and we're not extending a gap, I would like to see Piastri beat Norris.
Is it going to be a papaya rules swap or?
Do you know what? Piastri's going to have a really bad pit stop, and McLaren have got to ask Lando to make it part. And if Lando doesn't do it, expect severe consequences of letting your teammate go pick when they go in qualifying. Severe.
Yeah. Jazz, you want to close us out with predictions?
No, because I see so many possibilities here. I see the George thing. I do see it. He's been on good form lately, better form than Piastri. Out of the 4 that are still in contention, so I could believe it. I could definitely believe it. Max is also just never to be counted out, and if he smells blood in the water, my oh my. Now, I want to believe that Lando can do it. He's not done, it's not a particularly outstanding track for him. So, and according to Oscar Piastri's fan base, these tracks aren't good for him. So, I don't know what to think anymore.
Prove him wrong. Predict an Oscar Piastri win.
No. I think I would probably say I'll say what I want. I want Norris, Hamilton, Russell. I don't know what's happened to get here.
Rich bias.
Oh, no.
Let me guess. Behrman's going to be 4th?
P3. Verstappen P3.
They're going to bring Jensen Button back for the race. He's going to be P5.
Before the 5-place penalty.
I was thinking about what would be interesting for the championship, actually.
Yeah, just
there was no
predicted
bias
three
involved.
Brits on the podium. Okay.
I made an error. That was completely unconscious.
If that happens, you're doing 3 shoeies.
Yeah, fine. I'll take that. I'll take that. No, what I really think is gonna happen though. Max, Norris, Russell.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, the one that we're all waiting for, of course, is Colapinto finally going to score some points?
No.
Okay, there you have it.
That's never wrong. So
he has improved. He's beaten Gasly on merit for a couple of races now. I think if something were to happen and he keeps his nose clean, I think he could score some points this week.
it's possible.
Whether it's sprint or main race.
That's the problem though, keeping his nose clean. He's I just don't see him at the level required to be an F1 driver. I'm sorry, Colapinto fans. It's just my opinion. But
you could also say that the Alpine car shouldn't be.
I mean, the Alpine car is.
That's what I was gonna say.
It is terrible, yeah. But Gasly's managed to. I mean, Gasly's a really good driver, and he's managed to scrape points this season. And
yeah, but Colapinto has beaten Gasly.
Colapinto's still a baby.
About half of the races he's done. So the fact that Gasly hasn't scored any points should also be an indicator that that car is really that bad.
Yeah, I mean, it is bad, and he will be there next season. And with the Mercedes engine rumored to be, the best on the grid, if Alpine can put a half decent car together next year, then there should be no excuses not to at least score a few points during the season. Next year, there will be no excuses. It'll be technically his 3rd year in the sport. I know the first one was like half a season, but he would have had a year and a half of experience behind him. That's enough.
I mean,
personally, I just don't see it.
I really must say, because he has improved from last year. Last year was heavily scrutinized for crashing the car on, I think, 5 occasions out of 9 races. So he hasn't crashed once in a race this year.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't crashed, but he's not looked competitive. I know.
I know. There's a difference, If you'd say
there is improvement, don't get me wrong, but I didn't think Jack Doohan was going to be good enough, and I don't think he was.
We'll never know.
We'll never know, but I didn't see it in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't think Colapinto will be in the sport in 2 years.
Well, Montoya did say recently he's there because he brings money. Alpine needs that money.
Yeah.
In the same way a team like Haas could need that money, or Williams again on a bad day. Unfortunately, it does keep the sport spinning. So, he brings massive sponsors with him.
No, I think he's got to the summer break to prove himself next year.
That's a long time in Alpine.
In Alpine, yeah.
Chronology.
But,
it's 12 eternities, man.
Yeah.
It's 12. But I honestly think they'll give him till at least the summer races, the European, where you get to your Silverstones, Budapest, etc. But if he's not doing it, they'll put Aaron in that car. There's a reason they signed him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, Aaron looked good in F2. Doohan looked good in F2. Colapinto, I did not see much of him in F2, to be fair. But even he seemed to be an attractive prospect. So
I mean, the thing with Colapinto
is the issue that
because he was pulled out of F2 because he had to drive to F1. So
yeah, worst positions to be in, I suppose. Must have been doing something right. But
he's not a bad driver. But if Alpine are competitive next year, unlikely. But if they are fighting for a championship, for example, I mean, you would absolutely think that Gasly will wipe the floor with him, and Colapinto will be no one. It wouldn't be the McLaren situation that we've got now. I do think, where both drivers are separated by a point.
Yeah.
I know he's beaten Gasly in the recent races, but again, what's Gasly? Well, what are either of them really racing for?
P17, it was the other week.
Yeah, but I mean, nothing. They're not going to get points.
They weren't supposed to race either because they had team orders, not to exchange positions. So yeah.
Team orders over P17 is ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't even.
Flavio things, isn't it?
Flavio things. But no, I mean the thing is we don't really get to see much performance extracted from these rookies because they are given approximately 11 minutes in the car before they are asked to clear out their driver's room and go back to a boarding school somewhere in the British countryside. So we'll never know. We'll never know.
Yeah.
What Doohan could have done. We might never see Colapinto's full potential. But what we will see this weekend is the Brazilian Grand Prix. And this, I think, just about wraps up our preview. I hope I haven't just jinxed that, by the way. The rain better behave. We will see a race this weekend. I suddenly started to panic. Regardless, we'll be back over the weekend with even more coverage. Watch along, is that?
Probably, yeah.
Probably. We'll keep you updated.
We'll be back probably, so yeah.
You can keep an eye on our social media. We'll keep you updated with if we're going live, any on-track news and updates across the whole race weekend and the sprint, of course. This has been our Brazilian Grand Prix preview, and we will see you for the next one after qualifying.